All right, let's just jump right in. Lean in a little closer for this one, because today we're unpacking the anatomy of a truly spine-tingling ghost story. We're looking at this brilliantly tight script, originally written in Hindi, called The Whispering Willow. Honestly, it's an absolute masterclass in how you build dread, literally layer by agonizing layer, without relying on those cheap jump scares. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how the writer manipulates setting, character psychology, and pacing to craft a genuinely terrifying atmosphere. So, turn down the lights and let's explore how suspense is really constructed on the page.
So, have you ever heard the whispering of trees? It's a simple question, right? But picture it. You're walking alone at night. The wind suddenly picks up, and out of nowhere, the rustling leaves sound almost human. It's this deeply universal fear, that eerie feeling of total isolation in nature. And this script, it taps directly into that primal instinct. Okay, let's dive into this darkness with a chronological walk through the story and see exactly how this trap is set. Now, to really understand the tension here, I want you to put yourself directly in the shoes of our protagonist, Sarah. She's in her 20s, super curious, but she's carrying that heavy armor of modern skepticism. Basically, she's our anchor. When she doubts, we doubt. When she panics, well, we panic. We've also got Old Man Hemlock. He's this reclusive, 70-something groundskeeper who acts as the keeper of the estate's dark history. And finally, and this is treated as a distinct character all on its own, the Whisper. Just a soft, ethereal female voice acting as our unseen antagonist.
Section 1. A creepy mansion.
Our story opens in the absolute classic domain of horror, inside a dilapidated mansion, completely enveloped by the night. Let's take a really slow, careful look at how the writer introduces us to this space, perfectly matching Sarah's cautious, step-by-step exploration as she sweeps her flashlight through the gloom. What's absolutely fascinating here is how the script uses these highly specific sensory details right off the bat to build an intensely uncomfortable atmosphere. Like, we aren't just told the room is old. We see moonlight revealing dancing dust motes. We see cobwebs hanging like forgotten lace. Sarah's flashlight beam suddenly catches a faded portrait of this stern-looking woman, a face she literally mutters is certainly not friendly. These aren't just set decorations, you know? They are active elements making the whole environment feel oppressive and watchful. The house literally feels alive before anything even happens.
And this brilliantly illustrates a core technique of suspense, the collision of mindsets. Right after seeing that creepy portrait, a floorboard creaks loudly right behind Sarah. She spins around, a flashlight darting into the shadows, but there's nothing there. On one side, we have Sarah's desperate rationalization. She nervously tells herself it's just the house settling, because old houses do that. I mean, it's incredibly relatable, right? But on the flip side, we, the audience, are acutely aware of the supernatural reality, that something sinister is absolutely waiting in the dark. By having Sarah so confidently dismiss the danger, the script makes her ultimate inevitable panic so much more impactful for us.
Section 2. Hemlock and the Willow Tree.
So Sarah quickly decides she's had enough of the creepy interior and steps out into the night air. We transition outside to the sprawling, overgrown estate grounds, and her attention is immediately drawn to this massive, ancient willow tree. The script describes its branches drooping down to graze the earth, looking almost like long, green hair. It's a striking, kind of melancholic image. But just as she approaches this weeping giant, a voice startles her. "Lost young lady?" Old Man Hemlock steps seamlessly out of the deep shadows. He's leaning on this gnarled walking stick, and the script specifically notes that despite his advanced age, his eyes are incredibly piercing and sharp. This sudden, jarring appearance immediately turns up the dial on our narrative tension. Sarah is trespassing, and she's just been caught red-handed by the guardian of this forgotten place.
Section 3. Alara's Mystery.
Sarah tries to play it cool, right? She claims she isn't lost. She's just admiring this incredible tree. But Hemlock just offers this knowing smile and introduces it as the Whispering Willow, hinting that it actually has stories to tell if one listens closely. This is where the pacing slows down beautifully. We kind of transition into this campfire storyteller mode as Hemlock delves into the dark, tragic folklore of the estate. He tells her about a young woman named Alara who loved the tree more than absolutely anything. Hemlock says she would sit beneath it for hours, whispering her secrets to its leaves, until she disappeared, never to be seen again. He adds that her spirit actually still wanders there, whispering secrets back to anyone brave enough to listen. So the crucial point is that Hemlock isn't just telling a spooky story here. He is planting a massive seed of dread in Sarah's mind, and by extension, in ours. The tree is no longer just a plant. It's a monument to a missing woman. And with that horrifying thought perfectly planted, Hemlock slowly walks away, vanishing into the darkness and leaving Sarah entirely alone.
Section 4. The Terrifying Whispers.
And this brings us right to the climax of the script. Sarah is all alone in the dark with this ancient, sprawling tree. Her skepticism is starting to crack. The silence is just deafening. And then, the script shifts gears into this rapid, urgent escalation of terror. Let's move to and see how this builds, phase by agonizing phase. The anatomy of a haunting is laid out perfectly here. Phase 1, a soft, almost imperceptible wind rustles the leaves. Totally natural, easily dismissed, right? But Sarah just stares at the tree. Phase 2, a soft, ethereal voice, barely audible, whispers, "He knows, he knows." Sarah frowns, literally asking the empty air if it heard that. And then she makes the fatal mistake of stepping closer and touching the rough bark. The voice grows clearer, sighing, "My love, betrayed." Phase 3, the wind suddenly intensifies. The branches start swinging violently, almost as if they're in deep distress, and the voice grows louder, just filled with grief and anger. "He took everything, everything." Fear completely grips Sarah now. The whisper surrounds her. It's coming from everywhere and nowhere all at once. She panics, tries to flee. But then, Phase 4, a gnarled branch swings down seemingly all on its own, physically dropping to block her escape path. The psychological terror has literally just become a physical trap.
Trapped, shining her wildly shaking flashlight into the moving branches, Sarah is confronted with this absolute cacophony of sorrow and rage. And out of that supernatural storm comes one final, chilling, desperate plea from the entity. Don't go, not yet. The script ends right there, on Sarah's piercing scream. It literally cuts to black at the absolute height of the tension, leaving the resolution entirely to our imaginations. So I leave you with this to ponder. Based on the tragic betrayal in Alara's past, what do you think the tree actually wanted with Sarah? Was she just a victim, or was she meant to be a witness? Thanks for exploring this masterful explainer of suspense with me. Until next time, maybe be a little careful which trees you listen to in the dark.